Um, Talk to me about the Donauschwaben and who they are and who you are.
Okay. Oh, the Donauschwaben, those are the people that in the 1700s they immigrated from in Germany and went down the Danube and settled in different countries like Romania, Hungary, Bulgaria, Yugoslavia. Now mine settled in Hungary, so this is where I'm from. And that's who the Donauschwaben are, because they went down the Danube. And my parents settled then in Hungary, and because all these people went there because they were promised land from Maria Theresia, Queen of Austria, because she was in charge of she had the Austro-Hungarian Empire. So that's about it for the Donauschwaben.
And then, as far as like Kiervai, so Kiervai was a tradition over there, and then we've since brought it
The
here,
Kiervai,
right?
I don't know much about it. I know it was tradition in the old countries, but in Germany, not so much, because everybody settled in different places, and the only time then when we came over here, the club started it again. So that's how I know it through the club.
So, you were like pretty young when...
3 months old when my folks had to flee.
Wow. And then were you and your parents able to escape before?
A few days before, because they knew the German army was in there, in Hungary already, and they told the people, and it was a small town, they told the people that the Russians were coming. Basically, we were fleeing from the Russians. And they said they would be there in a matter of days, and that's when my mom and family, my grandfather, he died in the war. He was missing in action, so we never knew what happened there. And they fled then with just a few belongings. And then they got separated, family members got separated on the way, but then they reunited. So, and they settled in Bavaria then on a farm. A farmer took us in.
So after that, how did you end up in America?
Well, my mom and dad worked on the farm, and there really was no future there. I mean, we made a living and that was it. We could have never had our own house or anything. And my aunt, she had relatives over here, so my aunt and uncle and their family, they immigrated to over here. And then 5 years later, we immigrated. We couldn't do it earlier because my grandma, she was a little bit older, and they didn't, but then eventually they let her come to, and we weren't going to leave her behind. So, and then we came over here and settled here. We actually had a sponsor in Virginia, and but that didn't work out because he said he had a working farm and he didn't have anything really. And so my aunt and uncle came and got us and brought us to Akron.
So do you remember coming to America? Like, what was that like, if you remember?
Coming to America was hard. I was 12, didn't know a word of English, and when they tried to enroll me in school, elementary didn't want me, junior high didn't want me because they didn't want to deal with somebody that didn't speak English. And so I started in junior high, but they just kept on passing me through, not knowing the language or anything, so it was very hard. I wouldn't want to do it again. It's no fun being a teenager and not knowing to speak the language and all that, no.
Do you feel like people know enough of the Donauschwaben story?
Probably not, because until I joined the club, I really didn't know much about it, and it's not taught anywhere, I don't think. So it's, unless you're involved with it, I don't think people do know. So I guess it's just up to us, when we talk to people to get the word out.
What is one thing about your own story or the story of the Donnerschwaben that you wish that more people knew?
As far the Donnerschwaben, they're very, very hardworking people. They're honest people, and I joined the youth group when I came over when I was about 14, 15. And my kids grew up in the club, and you couldn't have been a better place to bring up your kids. It's because it's very family oriented and stuff, so I think they're a great people. Honest, hardworking.
So when you joined the club, was the club still at
In Akron.
in Akron?
Yes, I joined a youth group at that time.
So did you experience it moving out here then?
Yes.
And do you think that was positive?
Yes, yeah, because at the German American Club, we had the upstairs, which we rented from the club itself, because they had it downstairs with the bar and everything, and the kids were not welcome downstairs or anything, even as teenagers or whatever, and we had a lot of people, and not having your own place, and we had the opportunity to get our own place, so yeah, this was very positive for us.
Sorry. Is there anything else that you want to add or talk about relating to the Donnerschwaben or your experience?
No, I loved growing up in the youth group. I loved the youth group being in there, and I enjoyed having my kids in there and going to the functions every year, Labor Day weekend, meeting all the other people. I think it's a great experience for anybody.
Do you think that the Donnerschwaben culture is fading, or do you think that the club is doing a good job of keeping it alive?
The clubs that have young people involved, they're doing good. But there were so many clubs that didn't involve the young people or concentrate on the young people, because in order to survive, you got to have your younger generation in there, and which is always what we counted on, having kids in between the youth group, which some of the other clubs didn't do, and so a lot of them have folded. But I think if you concentrate on your younger people, I think you can survive.